5 ways to tell if you have a bad house cleaner. Yes, we're going to talk about that today. Hi there, I'm Angela Brown and this is Ask a House Cleaner. This is a show where you get to ask a house cleaning question and I get to help you find an answer. Now today's show is brought to us by SavvyPerks.com, which is an employee benefits program for small business owners and their employees. So if you're a house cleaner, this applies to you. Now, one of the perks and one of the benefits that they offer is at hair salons and also beauty supply stores. So whether you have your hair done or you do it yourself, there are savings available to you. Now, I went to the beauty supply store the other day and I was going to buy some special conditioner for my hair. And you know how I like to gel my hair back on the sides? I buy this special gel that doesn't damage my hair. Anyway, I'm a member of this particular chain, and when I went in, I get a 15% discount for being a member. The Savvy Perks also gives me a 15% discount. And so I went in thinking, they're not going to give me the other 15% from Savvy Perks because I'm already a member. But when I went inside, the lady says, no, your membership doesn't count as the discount. The Savvy Perks is an extra discount that you get in addition to your membership. So I got 30% of my special hair care. So I'll be wearing my hair like this for a very long time. Hooray! Thanks, Savvy Perks. Okay, SavvyPerks.com. Okay, on to today's show, which is from a homeowner who writes into the show, and she wants to know, how can I tell if I have a bad house cleaner? So there are about 16 or 17 ways to tell if you have a bad house cleaner, but today we're going to talk about 5. So the very first one is that if you have a house cleaner and you have them come over to do an initial walkthrough of your house, one of the very first questions I would ask them is, do you have proof of insurance? And if they say they're bonded and insured, they will know the company of the name that they have their insurance through, right? They're paying a service every month for this insurance. So they're going to know the name of the company and they should have a policy number. And if you want to call and verify, that's up to you. But if they don't have that basic information, they're probably not insured and I would send them on their way because they're not protected and your home is not protected. All right, another way that you know you have a bad house cleaner is if you take them on a walk through your house and they can't identify basic stains or mold or soap scum or a problem area like a backed up bathtub. If they look at that and they have no idea why or how it happened, I would move them on their way because they're not qualified to clean your house because they obviously haven't had the proper training. All right, another way that you can tell if you have a bad house cleaner is if you do have pink soap scum inside your sink or your bathtub or something like that, and you ask them, hey, what is this and what would you recommend getting rid of? Now, if they don't know what it is, number 1, that's a problem. But number 2, if they don't know how to clean it, that's problem number 3. So if you ask them, what do you use on hardwood floors? And they have no idea, they haven't had proper training either. And so we don't want a person that has no idea what different chemicals and solutions to use on the surfaces and fixtures in your house. That's a problem waiting to happen. So we want to move them along on their way. Another way that you know if you have a bad house cleaner is if they don't take ownership. And so if you hire them and you have a problem and you call them up and say, hey, I noticed that this, and this wasn't done. And they say, oh, well, I did that. Okay, but you are the customer and they have a satisfaction guarantee. And if they did not meet your satisfaction, they should guarantee their work, right? And if they won't take ownership for that, I would send them on their way. That's a sign that you have a problematic house cleaner. And it's not going to get any better over time because people that don't think they have problems don't take ownership and they don't make it right when you do have a problem. Those that say, oh, my goodness, that's horrible. Let me come right over and clarify that. And then you can set new boundaries and figure out how much the house cleaner is going to be able to clean while they're there because maybe they cleaned everything to their expectation, but they weren't able to get to everything because of time. So maybe you need to readjust your time or your pricing or something like that. But if they won't take ownership and they won't acknowledge there's a problem, time to move them on their way. All right, another thing that will tell you if you have a bad house cleaner is if they just can't answer basic cleaning questions. For example, you might ask them, hey, do you clean out litter boxes? If they don't have a policy and they don't know my company does or doesn't do that, that's a basic cleaning question. Their company might say, well, we don't do any litter boxes or we don't clean up dog poo or whatever. They're going to have some kind of a policy in place. If they don't, I would ask them, suppose that you come to my house and there's kitty litter strewn all over the floor. If they can't answer that question, I would send them on their way. They might say very quickly, oh, well, we would clean it up, then we would vacuum, we would sanitize the area, and we're done. So in their minds, they're already working through that problem. If they don't have that basic skill set, I would send them on their way. So if they are afraid of dirt, grime, and mice poo or dog poo or cat litter or whatever it is, again, I would send them on their way. Now, some people will very quickly shout at you and say, well, that's a hazmat problem, and we don't do that because our insurance doesn't allow. Guess what? The insurance does allow. The insurance allows for you to clean up dog poo and mice poo and kitty litter. That is part of regular basic cleaning. It's not ideal if you have mice poo and dog poo all over your house, but it is part of regular cleaning. A hazmat situation is where you're going into something that is really heavy-duty toxic. And so it might be something like a bed bug infestation, or it might be something like you have a cockroach infestation, or maybe there's a crime scene cleanup. There's something that's toxic in the home that's going to need like a full bodysuit and a face mask and all these other things. And that, in fact, does require a different kind of insurance, and it's a different kind of cleaning. They come in for crime scene cleanup and they clean everything 3, 4, 5 times to make sure that everything is completely sanitized. But cleaning up some mice poo, you're going to wipe it up, you're going to sanitize the area, boom, you're done. That's not extra insurance, that's not hazmat. So if your house cleaner doesn't know the difference, it's time to send them on their way. All right, so that is 5 signs that you might have a bad house cleaner. And so now you know what to look for. All righty, that's my 2 cents for today, and until we meet again, leave the world a cleaner place than when you found it.